Author and interior designer LaShonda Pierce has overcome multiple adversities in life. But instead of wallowing in regrets or seeing the woe is me party, she chose to take those lemons and turn them into lemonade. She is the author of the book Positive, Passionate, and Purposeful, and she's here to teach you how to live that title versus just knowing the words. Please welcome LaShonda Pierce. So I am so excited to have you here, LaShonda.
Thank you.
Live and in person. I feel like I can already feel the positive vibes, creating the atmosphere that you do so well. And I'm happy to have you here to talk to everyone else about how to live a purposeful, passionate life.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Happy New Year to you.
Yes, Happy New Year. 2021 is going to be great.
It is.
Last year was great. I mean, amidst of everything that occurred, I still saw blessings. So.
And it's already off to a great start because you're sitting here on your show.
You better come on and say
it. It's already off to a great start.
It is really great. So when we think about living this PPP life, like you call it, explain to the people, what does that actually look like for you?
For me, living PPP is being positive in spite of whatever life tends to throw our way, being passionate about the things you love and the things that are in your heart, all your dreams and desires. And when we do those two things, we can live a purposeful life. So that's the recipe to live in PPP.
Yes, I love that. So making sure that you understand that they all go together.
Yeah.
Not one over the other, but they all flow right into each other in order to live such a great life.
I think because we all know the day can start off one way and it'll throw a curveball.
Right.
Much like life. You know what I mean? Like a person can make every attempt to have a perfect, positive, wonderful day, but then something will happen. It's all about being positive in spite of and not letting the little detour take you off your whole game plan for the day.
Right. And do you feel like you've always lived that way, or is that something that you've learned to actually do?
I honestly think that I've always been that way. It's no secret, like I've always dealt with adversities from a young girl, and I think I've just learned to play the cards that I've been dealt. And, it's like the game of spades. You don't get a winning hand all the time, but you got to learn how to play the hell out of the cards that you were dealt.
Come on.
And it sounds cute, but it's really the truth. Just not even long ago, being hit with the whirlwind of a surprise that kind of like dampened my spirits. And it really knocked me down for 48 to 72 hours, but I was able to pull myself back up because I know that it's just a part of life. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and we can just roll with the punches.
And I think that that's really great that you said that, but I want to dive deeper because there may be someone watching right now that says, I know what it feels like to be knocked down.
Oh yeah.
But how did you actually get to, pulling yourself back up?
Okay, if I can be completely transparent,
yes, please do.
I cried. I had to be honest with the emotions that I was having and just accept the disappointment. And so I had to let it out. So I let it out. I acknowledged how I was feeling. And then I had to sit. Sometimes you just gotta sit in it.
Come on.
And you gotta kind of like just take it in from all angles, right? Take just everything that caused that to happen, just think about it all. And then I began to pray. Prayer really helps me, and the older I get, sitting still really helps me. It really helps me just really like soak it all in and just be present and go from there. So after about 2 days of that, the pity party, that's when I have to light my fire back. Like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. It happens to the best of us, And so I've learned to not stay down. And I even talk about that in the book. We can get buried with bad news. We can get buried with disappointments. We can get buried with negativity and things that we don't want. But the only way we can stay there is if we don't get up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I read something just the other day and I thought it was so cute. And it said something to the effect of, learn to bloom and blossom from the dirt that was thrown on you. So like when you think about when you're planting something, you have to put the dirt on it for it to grow. So things have to get ugly sometimes. Things have to get uncomfortable. It can be dark, but we sprout out and we can really blossom from it.
Yeah, I love that you made that point though, because when we think about putting the seed in the ground,
it's dark down there.
It's dark, and a seed does not actually grow without you turning the soil, the fertilization.
And the seasons have to change.
And the seasons have to change, and then it has to be watered on a continual basis, nurturing it to then see that flower bloom.
And look at your yellow shirt.
Come on.
I let the sun shine back in. You know what I mean? Darkness is heavy.
Yeah.
It's so heavy. And for me, I am a person, like, I like the lights on. I like to open the blinds. I need to get up and out of it. Music helps me, and it helped me then during this recent time. Like, I had to pray, but I also need some spunk.
Yeah.
I like to make a joke and say, you know, when we're depressed and when we're sad, it's not the time we can't listen to Anita Baker all day.
Right, come on.
She's gonna make it worse. She's gonna make it worse. You know, we need to knuck if you buck. We need to get it back. We need to get it back going. And I had to do that. Yeah, woe is me, but nah, I need to get back in the ring.
Yes.
So I had to, you know, do the very things I talk about in my book. I talk about get up. When we look good, we feel good.
Yeah.
If we're already depressed, what I'm walking around looking crazy for? It's not gonna help it.
What is that helping at all?
I need to listen to some upbeat music. I need to pray. This is the time when I dig deep and I go back to even compliments that people have given me. I need to go back to those praise reports because I'm trying to lift myself higher. And so it helps me when I'm trying to get out of that funk.
Yeah, I love that. Go dig back into that bank. Because that's what it is. There have been multiple deposits. Yes.
Because when you go through something, it is a withdrawal. It's a withdrawal from your spirit. It's a withdrawal from your vibe. You know what I mean? So it is definitely like a bank account.
Yeah.
Deposits and withdrawals.
Yes. And then always knowing that a bank account will go empty.
Oh, from time to time.
If you're not pouring back into it, right?
From time to time, yes.
Right.
Yes.
I love that. And I love how you are very transparent with your story, because even the most positive people in the world,
and people think positive
all go
people
through
don't
it.
go through
Come
it.
on.
Come on. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
No, that's
no
why
one's
I
exempt.
felt like I was an expert. Because I mean, it is what it is. That's why I wrote the book. Because I'm an expert at this by now. So, yeah. It's all
Everybody
good.
goes through it. I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to what people see on social media.
Oh, you're supposed to smile every day. No, I'm so human. Yes, I have bad days. Yes, there are people that don't like me. Yes, things aren't always great. Yes, because I'm human, because we all are.
Yeah. And I also love the point where you said you had to sit in it, because this is one of the things that I feel like most people miss as well. If you don't actually acknowledge what you're going through, acknowledge what has happened, how can you fix it?
That's right.
How can you move forward from it?
And we got to be honest. We got to be honest with ourselves. And we have to be empathetic for other people, how they may be feeling. I'm not the only one with feelings. You know, we have to think about it all. So when you sit in it, that's the time when you can kind of really sit in it and see all of the ingredients in that bowl. Yes.
And you know, with our culture in particular, you know, not all of us see the benefit of therapy. And when I think about therapy, one of the things that they do is they require you to sit and talk about your feelings. You know, like they're not going to let you just continue to mask what's going on. They're not going to just allow you to just say, oh, okay, yeah, everything's wonderful.
No, it's not.
Let's be real. What's really going on? It doesn't mean that you're not grateful. It doesn't mean that you're not blessed. It doesn't mean you haven't had amazing moments. But every single one of us will or have gone through something.
Yeah, for sure.
that will definitely knock you down.
Oh, for sure. For
And
sure.
you have to be willing to pull yourself back
Yeah,
up.
for sure. One of the songs that I went to was Cardi B's "Knock Me Down 10 times, Knock Me Down 9 times, and I Get Up 10."
I have no idea what that song is.
Oh, you need to listen
but
to
yes.
it on the way home. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And it's not a lot of times for me. I'm a lyric person. As a writer, I love words. You know, and you think about it. You get knocked down, but I'm a stand up 10. You know, even John Gray's book, 8. You know, 8. Knock me down 7, get up 8. It's really about falling down but not staying there.
Yeah. Exactly, that part. Not staying there.
Not staying there.
Not staying there. Now, as you said, you're an expert because you've definitely gone through some things that have allowed you to see certain situations and then find the great in it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those times. Like, what was one of those moments that you can look back now and say, I'm so happy I saw the blessing in that lesson?
You know what? I think every lesson, like, I can't even say anything in particular, but what I will say, the older I get, the more mature I get, I know that there is a lesson in everything. There's a lesson in everything. Yeah. And even if it means correcting ourselves.
Yeah. That part.
Just because I'm hurt doesn't mean that I didn't need to learn anything from it.
Yeah.
So that's a part of maturity, is looking at the lesson in the disappointment, looking at the lesson in the mishap, looking at the lesson. Every day there's going to be a lesson and a blessing.
Yes, that is so true. I love that you said that.
Yeah, it's going to be a blessing and a lesson every single day.
And it's actually up to us to notice it, right? You have to be willing to stay open and say, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me in this very moment?
In this moment, yeah.
In this very moment.
In this very moment, with our children, with the conversations we have with people, with colleagues, just anything. It's always something. You know, what could I have done better? Prime example, I was installing some drapes the other day. And just so happened I took my steamer out because I was going to steam something at home. So when I got to my client's house, I didn't think the drapes were going to need steaming because it was a smaller deal or whatever. Long story short, I didn't have my steamer. And I was embarrassed when I was there and I didn't have my steamer. So as I was driving home, it wasn't a big deal because we pressed them out with our hands and they'll naturally fall. But as I was driving home, I could have made all kind of excuses or whatever, but I said to myself, you know what? Never leave your steamer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a lesson, something as simple as that, because you never know when you're going to need these things in our field. You never know when you're going to need a safety clip. You never know when you're going to need a battery. You never know when you're going to need some thread. I needed my steamer and I didn't have it. I didn't beat myself up, but I did count the lesson that pack that every day.
Yeah. And see, that's really good because I feel like some of us get stuck in the I should have instead of just saying, you know what?
I learned something from that. You know, because we got to be gentle with ourselves. The world already going to beat us up.
Right.
And we're going to be crying and, you know, so we don't have to beat ourselves up as bad. Just acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That's it. Acknowledge it and do better.
Why do you think it's so difficult for some of us to acknowledge our own wrongs?
Everybody wants to be perfect. Yeah, everybody want to be perfect, and no, you know, everybody did something to you. That's not true. You know, I even say this. Sometimes we are the problem.
Come on.
Sometimes you might be the toxic one. Sometimes you might need to own up to your shit, LaShonda. Yeah. And so, it's about being, when you sit in it and you sit by yourself and you look in the mirror, you got to be honest. Yeah. Just like if I point this finger to you, I got 3 of them back at me.
Coming back at you. Right.
So when we realize that no, we're not always perfect, and then when I talk about empathy, when we put ourselves in other people's shoes and we can kind of weigh things out on an unbiased scale, we can kind of see, you're not perfect. None of us are. We are all works in progress, and we can all stand to be a little better.
Right. And you know, with that, when you're acknowledging you're wrong, no, it's okay to forgive you too.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because I feel like that's something I have actually experienced in the past, where I was beating myself up behind a certain decision. Like you said, we always want to be right. We always want to be perfect. You know, and then when you make a bad decision, and I was like, the world is ended. You know, And I was like, okay, you got to get over it, Kish. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. But once acknowledging and not forgiving yourself, I mean, like, they go hand in hand. You have to do both.
Moving forward.
In order to move forward.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Because at the end of the day, I'm sure we all will make another mistake.
Moving right along.
Right. So, hearing these great things, talking about your book, which I found so completely phenomenal. And it's such a great one of those reads that you start and you just want to keep going. You don't want to sit it down, until you're done. That's what I loved about it. And there were so many different gems in there. What's one of the key things that you would want people to walk away from reading your book?
And I'm not just saying this, I definitely think each chapter has something so important. Starting with the power of prayer. Yeah. Starting with the power of being positive, your mindset, your circle. It's so many nuggets in each chapter. I think you definitely can take something away. I mean, it's just it's a good book, and it's one of those highlight. Oh yeah, highlight and write. Girl, I wrote all up in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those books, and I think so many people take it for granted, or like, it's bigger than saying you're positive. That book will help you really live it. And we do some self-reflecting in that book. It's a list in that book. What do I need to not do? You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's so many takeaways from that book. I really honestly can't say that I love one chapter more than the other.
Ooh, that was good. But before we continue the conversation, be sure to like this video. And don't forget to subscribe. I want you to get all of the notifications every time a new video posts. So subscribe. Now let's go back to our regularly scheduled program. So let's talk about how you've actually taken that concept of living purposeful, passionate, and I always say them all backwards.
You have them all mixed up. But listen,
every single time.
It's all good.
But the 3 P's, how you've applied that to your business, because you're doing this throughout your life, which is really great, but you've applied it through your businesses as well. So can you talk a little bit about that?
And nevertheless, she persisted.
You better come on.
Yeah, because entrepreneurship is something real different. People see it. People see your life on camera.
They see the glam.
And they don't know, it's a lot. When you're dealing with entrepreneurship as opposed to working for someone. The beauty of working for someone is when you say you work 9 to 5.
That's what you work.
5.
Right.
You get a lunch break. You're gonna get paid on these days.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is not the same. You work longer. You work later, and sometimes you don't get paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so dealing with that is a mental heaviness in itself. Yeah. And I've had to invite all of those chapters in my life. As an entrepreneur, I need prayer. Yeah. I need to be positive. I'm an entrepreneur because I'm passionate about what I'm doing and I love it. And so me doing what I love, I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what God called me to do. And just because I'm doing what God called me to do doesn't mean it's always easy. Yeah. So I definitely have to be positive in spite of. You have to have thick skin as an entrepreneur. You have to have some go-getter in you. You have to have some hustle. You have to have some fire, because it'll knock you down. Oh yeah, and it'll knock you down even when you think you're doing so great. Oh, listen, one of the things that I love to say is, don't let the compliments go to your head. You better come on. And don't let the criticism get to your heart. You can be the it person, and the next day, girl, please, you seen such and such. So all of that comes with the territory. So you have to know who you are. And I know that I am quite gifted and talented. I know that I am good at what I do. But every day isn't sunshine, and so it's all good because I am positive and because I'm truly passionate about what I'm doing. I don't really have to have everybody telling me, oh girl,
you're not looking for the validation.
Because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I'm doing what I love. It's art. It's easy for me. I can decorate a room by the moment I walk in, and I know what I want the overall picture to look like. I have the vision for it. Even with all of the other things I do, it's just my naturally given talent.
Right. And just so people will know, so we have LA Pierce Designs,
which is love. You don't have to separate the LA.
And why does everybody say LA?
I don't know. It's because the way I came up with the name is because I'm LaShonda Pierce.
Right.
So La Pierce Designs. So when I initially started La Pierce Designs, it was my way of bringing fashion and interior design together.
I love it.
I used to call it the best of both worlds because my background was personal styling and fashion. And in 2009 is when I decided that, you know what, I want to be an interior designer, which interior design is basically fashion
just
for
dressing
the home.
home. Yeah.
So that's how that started. But I got my name from a fashion background.
I love that. So we have La Pierce Designs, and then you also do floral.
Yeah.
Floral.
Yeah, that started as like my happy hobby.
So it was a hobby at first.
It was just a happy
and it just
hobby.
turned into
because I used to do events, and I've always loved like silk flowers and fresh flowers. And then when I noticed, like, oh, this is good, and this with COVID, this can be a nice little side hustle. And for me, it was more so about the mission behind Fierce Floral. I don't have to do a big wedding. I don't have to do a big party. I just really wanted people to give their loved ones their flowers while they can smell them. I'm big on that.
Come on.
You probably had a hard day, and you needed to know that you were appreciated. You needed to know that somebody's thinking of you. It's the just because moments for me.
Just because. Listen, for me too.
Yeah.
I think it's more genuine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now you have the floral, you have your interior design, and you also are doing what you call it, the flea market?
The fancy flea market. So the fancy flea market started back in 2014.
Okay.
And that's when it came to my mind, and I initially was in an antique mall. So let me tell you what the fancy flea market is. It's all things fierce and fabulous, right? You don't know if you're going to go in there and find some custom pillows I created, or a cute dress that I designed, or it was really supposed to be like a cute gift shop. And so now I'm in the process of moving locations. I'm going to be in the new Sugarland Painted Tree.
Okay.
Which is like, if you've ever been to the Nutcracker Market, this is a marketplace of mini boutiques. So I love the Painted Tree so much. It's so adorable. When you walk in there, you just don't know where to start because there's so many other creatives. It's a creative marketplace. And so the fancy flea market will have clothing, accessories, candles,
there's
books,
multiple things you have.
chairs. Like I do all kind of custom headboards and all these kind of cool things. So it's the fancy flea market, all things fierce, fab, and unique.
Yes. And if anyone's looking to actually connect with your businesses, where can they do that?
Oh, they could do it all on one page. LaShondaPierce.com is going to be the website that we are currently merging everything together. But even if you follow me on Instagram, it has a link to everything that I'm doing.
Awesome.
From the nonprofit, from my daily business of La Pierce Designs to the fancy flea market. You can find all those things there.
Yes, and I'm so happy you said about the nonprofit because that's a whole nother PPP right there.
Yeah.
Talk about Iconic Women for a moment.
So Icon Women's Organization was started back in 2010 with a good friend of mine, Nikita Ross, and I. She's a hairstylist and a salon owner, and I always worked in fashion. And one day we were just sitting and talking. What do we want to be known for? We kind of want to do something for women. And just like that, Icon was started, and here we are 10 years later.
Phenomenal.
To date, we've given over $120,000 in scholarships, and that's not with any corporate sponsors. That's just with us doing fundraising and just trying to help the community. When we started, it was initially for women and children, and now we have a soft spot for seniors. So we also bless seniors. Like this weekend coming up, we will be doing care baskets for seniors. We call it Love on Seniors. So we'll be dropping off over 50 bags
I love
to
it.
seniors. We also have an extension of Icon Women. We have Icon Pearls, and that's the young ladies ages 5 to 18, where we teach them principles, leadership skills. We teach them how to be positive, passionate, and purposeful, and just to learn the joy of giving back.
And you know, honestly, LaShonda, it doesn't matter what I have ever known you to do or what you're doing currently. You truly are the living example of being positive, being passionate, and being purposeful.
Thank you.
In every single thing that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's so funny, the way that title of that book came about is because you know how you can do a bio of yourself in your Instagram page, and I think it was 2016, 2017. I was like, oh, I'm positive, passionate, and purposeful. You know, that's gonna be my bio. And the more I started thinking about it, and I would be taking notes, because I'm, like I said, I love words, I love writing. I would just always write about those things, and then before you knew it, I had a whole book on my notepad in my iPhone.
Yeah.
And that's really how it came about, because I felt like those words truly described me. And it is definitely something that I want to be known for, and it is the legacy that I definitely know that I'll leave behind. I want to encourage people not to be so negative all the time, you know, to try to find the good in things, even if it's ugly at the moment. I want people to find something that they're passionate about, because if I'm so focused on my passions, I have no room to be jealous or envious of the next person. Because I'm focusing on me. And when I can do those two things, then I'm automatically going to live purposefully.
Come on. Thank you so much for coming and sharing such great gems with us. Now we all know how to actually go out and live positively, how to make sure we're being passionate in order to be purposeful.
Oh, right. You
Look, I got it right
Girl, you got your PPPs in order. I love it.
I love it. Thank you so much, LaShonda. I
for having
appreciate
me.
you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have Tease to Your Door curvy model Nichelle Thibodeau. Check out a sneak peek. The 48-year-old woman that's watching. The 57-year-old woman that's watching. The 63-year-old woman that's watching. That's saying, you know what? I still have a little bit of doubt. What would you tell her?
Don't doubt, baby. Because if it's there, first of all, the doubt is the thing that's trying to keep you from your destiny.
Ooh.